afternoon, children. Sit down.
Thank you, Auntie.
All right, so today we will begin with the new chapter, which is Ashoka the Great. All right, now that's his picture. If you can see, that is what Ashoka looked like. Only that, yeah. Again, how do we know? What is the source of history of this period? Yesterday I had mentioned that. What is the source of history? Yes? Arthashastra. Source of history is?
Arthashastra.
Who wrote this? Or Kautilya. There's only one person, Vishnugupta, Chanakya or Kautilya. He is known by these names. Vishnu Gupta or Kautilya or Am I clear? All right. There is another source of history, and it was written by a Greek person. There was another source of history written by a Greek. Yes, Mustafa? Indica. All right. So along with this, we have another source of history, which is Indica. Indica or Ka? Sure? Or Ka?
Ca.
All right. Now who wrote this? And where did the Greek come from? In India, where did they come from? Yes? Now first you tell me who wrote this book.
Auntie Seleucus, Auntie.
All right. Now how did the Greek, can we go to the map of the extent of Ashoka's empire? Yeah. Can you see, this is the extent of Ashoka's empire. All right. So what you see is actually parts of Afghanistan also, that was a part of Ashoka's empire. All right. Now, how did the Greeks come here? Do you remember? There's a little small story. I know you have heard of
Alexander.
All right. Now, he was the ruler of Greece. He was the ruler of Greece, and he wanted to conquer the whole world. That is how from Greece on foot, Alexander along with an army came to India. All right. And by the river Jhelum, there was a fight with which ruler? Indian ruler? Porus. Very good. Right? And what was the brave thing that Porus said to Alexander? Do you know?
Auntie.
Yes?
Auntie, he said that like many kings, when they lose to another king in a war, they have to go with their heads down to the king. But Porus did not do that. He said that you can kill me, but I will not bow before you.
So he said, treat me as a king would treat another king, right? And remember, Porus was defeated in that war between the Indians and the Greeks. Am I clear? So what had happened is that Porus was made a prisoner of war, taken to Alexander, and Alexander had asked that, what should I do with you? He said, treat me as a king would treat another king. So Alexander was so taken away aback by the brave nature of this ruler that he was really, and then he did not enter India from the banks of river Jhelum. He started moving back towards Greece because his soldiers were falling sick. Right? They were not, they could not survive, they could not tolerate the climate of this region, and hence they were falling sick. Many soldiers had lost their lives. So Alexander was forced to retreat back to move away to Greece. But so what he did was, Alexander, before he reached Greece, he had kept a person over here in India, and these Greeks had settled down. They did not go back to Greece. They had settled down in India in a place which is called Northwest Frontier Province, which currently is in Pakistan. Am I clear? Which currently is in Pakistan and adjoining Afghanistan. This entire region was known as Indo-Bactria. What was this region called? Indo-Bactria. Am I clear? This was the place where the Greeks had settled down. Those who came along with Alexander, but they did not go back to Greece. They settled in India in the northwest frontier province of the country, and that place came to be known as Indo-Bactria. Yeah, can you see this portion, children? Northwest frontier, currently in Pakistan. That was the place where, and if you see it on a larger map, you will find that the borders of Northwest Frontier Province is adjacent to Afghanistan. So that was the place where the Greeks had settled down, right? So these are the sources of history of Alexander.
Ashoka the Great.
Or not Ashoka. Mauryan Empire. Very good. These are the sources of history of what? Of Mauryan Empire. Did you understand? All right. And look at the extent. Can you find how big the empire was? Can you also understand that the variety of languages and culture that was existing within this empire? Greater than India? The whole of India along with Pakistan and Afghanistan were a part of his empire, right? Greater than current Indian continent, right? Or subcontinent. So we have done the sources now, and we have seen the extent of the empire, and we have seen Ashoka also. The Northwest Frontier Province also, where the Greeks had settled down. Who? The Greeks. For many, many centuries, they are settled over there. They have married it. Now they have become localites of that people, of that area. Just like many traders from outside India had come and settled in India, they had married Indian ladies, and they had become a part of India. And the same manner, Indians going over there. Many Indians who are staying in Singapore or Malaysia, for example, I'm just giving or Thailand, for one generation or two generation, they are Indians, but they are more into that culture. So it's something like that. Yes.
Auntie, like in India also, people from Africa are settled in the areas of Gujarat.
Yes.
And they are fluent in Gujarati.
The Siddhi tribes, as they are called, the Siddhi tribes, right. All right, so now, why was Ashoka called great? Why was he called great? You must understand that Ashoka, who was the grandson of He was the grandson of Chandragupta Maurya. What is the achievement of Chandragupta Maurya?
He was the founder of Mauryan Empire.
He founded the Mauryan Empire, of course, with the help of Chanakya. Am I clear? Now there was one child over here. He said, Auntie, you said wrong that Chandragupta Maurya was the founder of Mauryan Empire, but Ashok was the Magadhan emperor. Magad is the kingdom that we are talking of. Magadha is the kingdom, or later on it became an empire. It later on became an empire, right? And when we are talking of Maurya or Mauryan dynasty, we are talking of the people or the rulers or the kings or the emperors who. So it is the same. Did you understand? When we are talking of Magad, it is the empire, kingdom or the empire that we are talking of, and we are talking of the dynasty, we're talking of the people who ruled Magad. Did you understand? So both are same. So if we say Ashoka the Great, he was the ruler of the Magadhan Empire, or Ashoka the Great, who was the
grandson
grandson of Maurya. Mauryan dynasty, belong to the Mauryan dynasty. Do you understand? Anyway, this is what I guessed. Okay? All right. Now, why is he called the Great? What did he do? What did he do that he is called a great? That Ashoka is called a great? New hands, yes.
Auntie, if we say in Hindi, auntie,
Loudly?
He was called Chakravarti Ashoka.
Hmm.
Auntie, because he was the founder of the Ashok Chakra.
Hmm.
And auntie, he was he had, after the Bindusar died, auntie, he took over the kingdom, and auntie, he attacked a few Mahajanpads, and auntie, he took the
From kingdom, Magad became an empire. Did you understand? So he is now, very rightly he said that Ashoka fought wars with the neighboring Janpads and extended the boundaries of his kingdom. That was not the only way of extending his empire. There were other methods also, and largely kings in all centuries, even Akbar did the same. There were 3 policies that they followed by which they extended the boundaries of their empire. First, of course, is diplomacy. Diplomacy, right? Now, I am a ruler and I send an invite to my neighboring Janpad saying that, all right, now if you accept me as your ruler, you will rule your Janpad independently. But, I will overlook your Janpad. I will give protection to you. If you agree, that is all right. If you don't agree, the second option left was war. Very good. And then, in some cases, instead of diplomacy and war, a third technique was adopted, which is matrimonial alliance. That is, they married the princess of another Janpad, and that is by virtue of that Janpad also accepted the superiority of ex-Janpad. Am I clear? That is exactly what Ashoka did, Bimbisar did, Bidusara did. Am I clear? And that is how, from a small kingdom, we find that the Mauryan Empire or the Magadhan, it became a huge empire. Did you understand? Not only this, not only is he known for making or creating such a huge empire, what are the other greats that he had? Yes.
Anti-establishing Buddhism in India.
Huh?
Anti-establishing Buddhism in India.
Alright, so can we just put it under a few headings, children? Yes, Shaurya?
And he changed himself after the Kalinga War
Hmm.
to a better person.
Yes. So, can I just write down and I'll explain that later on. Kalinga War. Yes.
Like auntie, he said before the Kalinga war, he was fearless. He did not fear anything. He was just like, I want to expand my empire. This is how I will do it.
Only through wars and battles. Yes. Huh?
And after the Kalinga war, he saw many, more than 1 lakh people dead. So after which he got a thought in the mind that why did we kill so many people? This could have been doing something more than here. Then he was like a bit, mourning for them, and then he converted himself into Buddhism and violence person.
Yeah, exactly. He became non-violent, right? All right. So, after the Kalinga War, now where is Kalinga? Modern day? All right. Should I write this or? This one, because this no longer, it has renamed itself. So the modern day Odisha is the place of Kalinga War. Am I clear? And for a very long time, before Ashoka became Ashoka the Great, do you know he was known as Chandal Ashok? Chand Ashok kehte the usse. He was, right? Why? Because he did not believe in peace and non-violence and all of that. Whatever he wanted, he acquired it. All right. Now, after the Kalinga War, Kalinga, which is present day Odisha, right? He changed. Why? As he correctly put it, you're going to listen? As he correctly put that he was really taken aback by the cries of the women and the children who were in the battlefield. Now, understand, in those days, the battles were fought from sunrise to sunset. You know, have you seen a shank, a conch? Yes. At sunrise, both the parties would get ready, right? And they would fight the war on a plain surface. At sunrise, one person will blow the conch or the shank, and the fight would begin. They would fight throughout the day, and at sunset, another person will blow, or the same person will blow the conch, and the war will come to the battle would come to an end. And at night, the people would go around seeing the dead, and if some people were alive, they would take them, nurse them, or the others would come to reclaim the bodies. That was the time when Ashok went out to the battlefield, and can I explain and then come back to you? And then he saw the cries of these young children, of the wives, and then he was very remorseful at that point of time. And he did not like it. He said, I have become a cause for the death of so many people, innocent people, all to gain something, right? And he did not like it. So therefore, what he did was he converted himself into Buddhism, and from Digvijay, he turned his policy to Dharma Vijay, right? Now, what is Digvijay? What is Digvijay? Conquering new lands, Digvijay. He changed it to Dharma Vijay. Vijaya. Okay? All right? He changed it to Dharma Vijay. Now, what do you mean by Dharma Vijay? He is spreading, because he became a Buddhist, he converted himself to Buddhism. He made Buddhism his state religion, right? And he gave lots of help to the Buddhist Sanghas. So therefore, if you remember, yesterday we saw the Sachi Stupa, and I said Ashok built the Sachi Stupa first, and then it was enlarged by the Shunga dynasty, right? So in the same manner, he gave lot of money to these Sanghas in order to expand or spread the message of Buddha. So from Digvijay, he changed his policy to Dharma Vijay. Am I clear? And follow that policy of non-violence and peace and spread the message of the Buddha. Clear? You wanted to ask me something. Yes.
About the war, you said at sunset a person would blow a horn.
Conch, shell. Huh.
But how would they decide who won the war after sunset?
Who wants a war after? They would not fight a war after sunset only.
Who won the war?
The war would go on for days. Mahabharat, Kurukshetra, 18 days it went on. So till they have either captured the king or they have killed the king, the war was not over. It would go on for days. But they would rest at night, get up again early morning, and again start fighting. Did you understand? Yes. You were asking me. You were asking the same question? All right. Now, does it satisfy the answers? But I would like to do a little exercise with you. A little exercise. Remember we did the Kalinga War? We did the Kalinga War?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And you know what wars are like? What a war's like? I just want you to close your eyes for 2 minutes. And when I say yes, then one by one you are going to describe the situation. Close your eyes. And you're going to describe the scene around you. You have to imagine that the war is over, the Kalinga War is over, and what you see around you is what you have to describe. Am I clear? So just close your eyes for 2 minutes and think about what you are seeing. There's this war going on, the two armies which are fighting one another, all right? They're fighting with swords, the elephants are there. And then when it is sunset, the war is over. The soldiers have gone back to their tents, all right? And the king has also returned to his tent. But you just go out of the tent, and what do you see? What do you see around you? What do you see around you now? Yes, Aditya, what do you see? Just close your eyes. We all have to close our eyes and we have to just describe what we are seeing around us. Yes, Aditya, what are you seeing?
I am seeing that there are many people who have been died in the war,
Who have died? Yes.
and in many of the soldiers and lots of people of that place.
Huh?
And the kids are crying and
All right. Yes, Srivats. I'll come to you. Sit down and tell me. Yes.
dead elephants,
Dead elephants,
broken weapons,
broken weapons,
families of the
Closer.
soldiers crying.
families of the soldiers crying. Jyotirmay,
Auntie, as I go out of my tent, I can see blood.
loudly.
everywhere.
Huh.
Blood everywhere.
Huh?
Bodies lying here, there, left, right, everywhere around.
Hmm.
Animals, broken weapons, dead people,
Hmm.
crying, shouting for help.
Hmm.
The people who fought the war, their wives crying that they died
Hmm.
because they had no support other than their husband.
Hmm.
And like people going out there to help the people who are wounded but not dead,
Hmm.
and those who are dead are just left lying there.
Hmm. Yes. Hmm.
Auntie,
Loudly.
the ground is a little red.
The ground is red in color because of
Blood
blood. Yes.
and mounds of
The soldiers.
are
Huh?
lying there, and
Some of the brave soldiers are lying there.
and which are left are crying for help.
There are some who are crying for help. Yes. Why are they crying for help? Because they are wounded.
Yes,
All right. Yes.
Are the people taking away other peoples and animals who died in the war, and the soldiers are crying because their half of the army is dead and all.
All right. Yes.
The soldiers of the winning army are celebrating and they are not seeing that when they are dead.
All right. Yes. Hmm.
there are rivers of blood flowing everywhere, and broken body parts which were allowed shooting during the war,
Hmm.
and lot of broken tools
Hmm.
and weapons,
Hmm.
and
Hmm. Yes.
Many
crying.
Lots of people crying. Yes. Yes. You.
Many weapons are lying over there.
Broken. Yes. Many weapons are lying. Hmm.
And blood in the body.
Wherever you can see, there's blood. All right. Okay. Anybody else wants to try? Yes. Close your eyes and you try to think. Imagine that situation, children. Yes. Close your eyes and think. Tell me. Yes. Piercing the bodies of the soldiers. Yes. Piercing the bodies of the soldiers. Yes. 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 You. Yes. Hmm.
I can see the I can see the elephants and the other animals.
Some of the animals also are injured and they are lying over there. All right, now open your eyes, children. Now tell me, has the war or the battle done any good to anyone? No. Are they, in the larger perspective, are they good or bad? Bad. So when we cite war, hona hi chahiye, is it good or bad? No. Bad. At any point of time, wars and battles are not good because it means the loss of human lives. And hence, at any point of time, it is not good. Yes, Mustafa.
How many years old was Ashoka when he
Well, I really have to check my details. I really don't know how old he was when he fought the Kalinga War. I'll check my details and I'll come back and tell you. Okay? All right, children? No, he wasn't. More than that. A little more than that possibly, but I really cannot. I'll check my details and I'll come back and tell you. All right, children. So thank you for the class. Thank you. And I hope you understood what I said. Yes. All right. Thank you.